I still remember the way he said he wasn't afraid. Not because he was brave in the way soldiers are supposed to be brave. Not because he'd hardened himself or shut something off. He just believed. And belief for Ethan was enough to stand on. I think about that a lot now. I met him at Fort Benning, about 3 weeks before deployment. He was 22, maybe 23. Quiet in a way that stood out. Most guys that age are loud about everything, filling the silence with jokes or complaints. Ethan wasn't like that. He'd sit with his coffee in the morning and just watch, like he was memorizing things. The first real conversation we had, he told me why he'd volunteered. I remember thinking, okay, I've heard that before. A lot of guys say that. But the way Ethan said it, there was no performance in it, no audience. He just meant it, plainly. The way you mean something when you've been carrying it for a long time. He'd grown up in a small town in Ohio. His grandfather had served in Vietnam, his uncle in the Gulf. He talked about them with this quiet reverence, not like he was trying to live up to something, more like he genuinely believed that some things were worth protecting. Some things were worth the cost. He had this nervous laugh. Used it whenever a conversation got too serious, like a little pressure valve. You'd say something heavy, and he'd laugh. Not to dismiss it, just to breathe. And he had this habit of folding his letters before he'd sealed them. He'd fold them, and then unfold them, and read them again. Every single time. I asked him once who he was writing to. He said, my mom, mostly, and a girl back home. She doesn't know I like her yet. I told him he should probably tell her. He laughed that nervous laugh. Maybe when I get back, he said. Afghanistan hit different than any of us expected. I don't mean the danger. You prepare for danger. I mean the texture of it, the waiting, the heat that settles on you like something personal. The way the days blur together and you start measuring time in small things. Meals, mail call, the sound of wind through a particular stretch of road. Ethan adjusted, like we all did, but I watched him closely. The way you watch someone you're a little worried about, without quite wanting to say so. For the first few months, he still had that light in him, that forward-leaning quality, like he was walking toward something. He'd ask questions the rest of us had stopped asking. He'd engage with locals when others kept their distance. He wanted to understand where he was. But around month 4, something shifted. Not broke, not collapsed, just settled differently. I remember one night, we were sitting outside after a long day of nothing, which is its own kind of exhausting. And he said to me, "It's different than I thought." I asked him what he meant. He was quiet for a second. Then he said, "I thought it would feel more like the thing itself, the idea of it. But it just feels like being here, doing this." He gestured at nothing in particular. I still think it means something. I just can't always tell what. I didn't have an answer. I'm not sure he was looking for one. There was a day. I won't say much about it, but there was a day when something happened in a village outside our post. Nothing we were responsible for, just something that happened. The kind of thing that doesn't fit inside the frame you built for yourself before you came. Ethan didn't talk for about 2 days after that. When he did talk, it wasn't about what happened. It was about a kid he'd seen near the market the week before. Just some kid selling something, maybe 8 years old. Ethan had given him a piece of candy, and the kid had run off without looking back. He said, "I keep thinking about that kid, whether he's okay." That was it. That was the whole thing. But I understood what he meant. That's the shift I'm talking about. From the idea of doing something meaningful to just hoping that one specific kid was okay. That's not disillusionment. That's something more honest than that. That's what happens when a place becomes real to you. He was quieter after that, but not empty. Something in him had moved, settled lower maybe, but stayed. He died on a Tuesday in March. I don't say that to be blunt. I say it because that's how it was. There was no dramatic context, no final standoff. Just a Tuesday, and then he wasn't there anymore. The last real conversation we'd had was the night before. We were eating, talking about nothing important. He mentioned that his rotation was up in 6 weeks. He was thinking about what he'd do when he got home. I think I want to drive somewhere. Just drive. No destination. Just the road. I asked him if he'd call that girl first. He smiled. That's the last thing I remember him saying. I've thought about Ethan a lot over the years. More than I've thought about the big moments. The ones that are supposed to stay with you. It's him I come back to. I think about what he believed. Not the politics of it, not the strategy. Just the thing itself. The conviction that showing up, that doing your part, that being present in a hard place, that it counted for something, that it meant something. I used to wonder if that was naive. I've stopped wondering. I think he knew, by the end, that the meaning wasn't going to be handed to him, that it wasn't going to announce itself. That meaning is something you carry with you, and it looks different up close than it does from far away. He carried his, and I have to think, that in those last weeks, when he was quieter, when he was thinking about that kid near the market, when he was folding and unfolding his letters, he had found something real. Not what he came looking for, but something. I still have a letter he wrote that he never sent. I've never opened it. I don't know if I will, but I keep it. Because some things you just keep. He wasn't a hero in the way stories make heroes. He was just a young man who believed something deeply and walked toward it and was changed by it and died before he could tell anyone what he'd learned. I think about that nervous laugh. I think about that girl who never got a call. And I think, if you're lucky in this life, you meet someone like Ethan, someone that sincere, someone who reminds you that belief, real belief, is not about certainty. It's about what you're willing to carry.